the area of influence and holding people accountable to a level of excellence and standard that's not negotiable. And so for us, right, if the handicap button at our front door is not working, I want it fixed immediately, right? Remove that barrier. If there is a shower that is meant to help those that are in wheelchairs, I want it fixed immediately, right? If there's an area of access that's being hindered, we want to mediate that and get it fixed as soon as possible, because it's the small things that people will remember, right? That one-on-one aid, that family, that person with a diverse ability being in our space, if they have to go through hoops and hurdles just to get into the pool or to go on the treadmill or to come to the program, right, that we're having, is going to impede their experience. It's going to feel more excluded than they do included. So it takes having attention to detail, having a good pulse of the areas where accessibility are a challenge, and being willing to address them so that, again, psychological safety, the emotional, the spiritual safety of that individual, no matter what their ability is, right, they still have a heart. They still have a soul. They still have a spirit. They still have a mind, right? And when we appreciate individuals that way and make sure we're on the cutting edge and the pulse of that, everything else kind of falls in line.
And as we celebrate National Disability Employment Awareness Month, how does the YMCA model demonstrate that inclusion? What activities or initiatives are you guys establishing this month?
I'll give it over to Zavon.
Wow. Well, I would say first and foremost, I think it's to the core essence of when someone comes through the door, we want to provide them really an unparalleled experience from start to finish, right? Whether that person is diverse, abled, whether it be in a physical point or a mental standpoint, really anyone that comes through the door, we want to make sure that they're able to feel included, they're feeling welcomed, and then not only that, but they have a pleasurable experience. When they walk in, we're addressing them by name, right? So that any issues that they have are taken care of right away, promptly. I would say it more so goes to our core mission of just ensuring that no matter who you are, no matter what ailments you might have, whatever challenges you might have, when you come to the Y, all of that, in a way, it goes away, right? And you're able to have an amazing experience, and you're treated like a real family, something that I pride myself in, and many of our associates like to tell people when they sign up here, they're joining a family, right? They're joining a family where it's not like you're just coming here to work out. You're not just coming here to take a dip in our pool. As lovely as our facility is, it's way more than that. So I think for me to answer your question, I would just take it back to just what we stand for and providing people, no matter who they are, what they look like, what color they are, no matter what through in life, providing them with an unparalleled experience when they walk through our doors at any of our centers.
Thank you so much, Simone. I think this was a great way to transition into just asking about your journey in finance, leadership, and even athletics, and how it has shaped your view and your inclusion at the YMCA.
It's so interesting. So before I held this position and here now since January of this year, but I like to, when people ask me the question of what my Y experience has been, I always tell people, well, I've been with the Y for a lifetime, because although I've only been here in this role since January of this year, I've been a lifetime member, right? But it's interesting. So before I had this role, I was the director of a school called Mathnasium.
Nice.
And it's a school that is designed for truly anybody, key emphasis on anybody, to receive math tutoring, right? And really meet them where they, no matter where that is, right? And I think, candidly speaking, there were some times when I was at Mathnasium that we dropped the ball with making sure that everybody feels included. Anybody, no matter what background they come from, what challenges they might have, we're able to get the same level of experience. And I think that, again, just candidly speaking, looking at the challenges that we had to overcome of making sure that anyone who walked through those doors were able to receive a quality training experience and meeting them where they're at with their math competencies, I took that same harsh lesson that I had to learn, and I did my best to apply that to this role and make sure that anyone who walks through our doors, they get the same quality level of experience and they feel included in our family here, no matter who they are. It's interesting because martial arts standpoint, I also teach. So not only am I a fighter, and I'm very fortunate to have won a couple championships this year. I actually won the heavyweight championship this year. But one of the biggest things that I absolutely love of martial arts is I hold everyone accountable. It doesn't matter where you're at when you walk through. It doesn't matter what quote unquote patients you might have. I hold everyone accountable to a high level of achievement and productivity, and people appreciate that. Just to provide a little bit of context, I absolutely love telling this story. I have a young man that I coach. He unfortunately lost a few fingers. And he is one of my most precious students. And his father came to me, this was a couple years ago now. He came to me and he said, "Do you think that my son can be a champion?" And I told him, "I know he can, and I'm going to hold your son accountable to it just like any other student." And I'm very proud to share that this year actually won the regional championship. And it wasn't some special formula that helped me guide him to accomplishing that. It wasn't some special tutoring program. It was holding him accountable just like everybody else in the room. It was making him feel welcome when he walked in. It was making him feel like regardless of whatever quote unquote limitation he has, he can be productive just like the rest of us, and he can overcome his challenges just like the rest of us. So I guess in a Cliff Notes way, that's a little introduction to who I am. But opening challenges, accepting people for who they are, and meeting them where they are at, and bringing them into our network, our sphere of influence with welcoming, sincere motives. That's what I stand. That's my background really across my entire life.
So, just you can just tell me what is your vision for the next chapter of inclusion? Yep. How does that look like?
Sure. I think as we look into 2026, it's so crazy to say that quarter four is almost over of 2025. One of the things that we want to see here at our Towson Y is, I think, the ideology of if you build it, they'll come should no longer be the set of leaders. And so one of the things that we want to focus on going into 2026 is how can we take Y initiatives, Y programming, Y access to the community, right? In places, in centers, in neighborhood events that lets people know that, again, we can replicate and we can duplicate all that we do in a community. And so how can we be strategic about we call a Y without walls, right? Our same operating principles, our same core values, but taking it into a space, again, to break down that silo. I'm a firm believer in trusted messengers, that if we can align with the trusted messengers in communities as thought partners and collaborators, we can certainly perpetuate the Y's mission to the point where you may not always be able to come to the building, but how we have redefined membership is that right there in your community, you know the Y is coming on a Tuesday to facilitate X, Y, and Z. You know right there when you're having your neighborhood cookout or your neighborhood fun fest or whatever you're having in the community, in that center, right? The Y is coming to have a table, but not just have a table with flyers. We're coming to provide an experience, right? And so 2026 looks like how we can, again, break down the walls, break down the barriers, trusted messengers for the community in spaces that they feel seen and heard, and where they don't feel like they are isolated or they're going to be pinpointed, right? We know that during this time, our Hispanic sisters in Latinx, there's high visibility on them, right? And so how do we, again, protect them, keep them safe, but not change their quality of life at the same time? It's just an example of what I feel the directions of Oracle Y for the next year is definitely going to be like.
I love it. I love it. That's a great answer, Jovan. I think for me, one of the biggest thing is authentic and genuine connections, right?
Yeah.
So, I think putting it very simply, right? How do we speak the language of those who we're looking to serve in an authentic and genuine manner? Let me give you an example, right? So I'm from Virginia. I'm from a small town, but we're actually...
He's from the country, y'all. He's from the country.
I'm from the country, y'all. I'm not going to try to lie. I'm from the country. But what's interesting is where I'm from is the home for the Virginia School of the Deaf and Blind.
Oh, wow.
So, right. So if I'm speaking to, or if I'm communicating with a deaf or blind individual, right, if I reference VSDB to that person, right, they're going to know right off the bat, oh, this guy actually knows about my community. This guy actually is invested in speaking to thought leaders and working with thought leaders in a community that I'm a part of, right? It's all about making people feel heard, genuinely seen, and not coming at it from a standpoint of, okay, well, I want to interact with this community. Let me just check the box by just saying that I want to do that. No, going out there and actually connecting with thought leaders and actually making those genuine partnerships to make sure that everyone feels seen and heard at their home base, right? So I guess to Jovan's point, bringing the why to them, venturing out and going into their communities to actually be able to connect with them and meet them with where they're at.
Thank you so much, Jovan and Savon. It's really been my pleasure having you. We do not take it for granted here at BeMore. It was a well-rounded discussion. I am so grateful for your time and for your energy and for your inputs regarding the space of disabilities, the YMCA, the future. If there's any more comments or anything you would like to address or put forward, also know that this is also a free ground to share as well, or wrapping up comments or anything that you would like to share. So here at BeMore, we're just so grateful for the collaboration and the excellent talk.
Absolutely. We appreciate the invitation, and we look forward to furthering our partnership and collaboration, hopefully in an in-person space opportunity in the near future. And I think one of the things that I like to drive home is that, there has to be areas in our life where we can kind of quickly escape from the chaos that's going on in the world, right? And I think that we try here at RY to create that homeostasis for individuals that are being compounded by life's vicissitudes and by life's trials. And normally, someone that is differently able feels the brunt of what's happening in the world in a much quicker and pertinent way than anybody else. And so I would just want to leave encouragement that the Y here in Towson is for all, for any and for everybody. And if you're anywhere in our vicinity, we would love to have you come see our building, feel the culture and climate that we're building here. But particularly, we are getting delighted to be a part of this conversation today and look forward again to partnering in more succinct ways and hopefully to be in person when we can.
Yeah, absolutely. No, just to echo what Jovan said, I mean, thank you so much for the opportunity. I definitely appreciate it. And I think something that I like to always harp on is the reality is up here in Maryland, up here in Towson, there's many different centers and facilities that have some weight, have a pool, right? Have some leagues for the kids, right? What is it that makes the why what it is? And in my opinion, and I think that Jovan will probably agree, it's the
That's
right.
It.
It's what's not seen when you walk in. It's what's felt.
That's right.
Right. So making sure that we have associates, not employees, but associates that are in the people business is key to what we do here.
Thank you so much. I definitely believe BeMore would love to collaborate more. And like you said, I like the idea of in person. So we'll stay in communication, and hopefully next year before the year ends, probably we can have an event or do something that's collaborative. But thank you so much for accepting our invitation.